Yeah.
let's stay up until 6 a.m., wake up in a ditch, go to a Tiesto concert, come close to overdosing on Molly, have some chamomile tea.
Have you done this before?
No,
this
I'm not.
itinerary seems really planned
come close
out.
No, not at all. Risk of getting thrown
Absolutely.
out. Yeah.
I now want a special segment of me and you.
We should race.
We should. That's what I was just thinking. We should race each other.
Yeah. So we have new stories to bring up for every podcast that we're gonna get through. But in order to find out who goes first, we're just gonna do a 60-yard dash before each episode.
Great.
Yeah.
I would love to do that.
I'll concede to you the first time if my hamstrings are tight today too because I worked out 4 weeks ago. So I will concede to you to go first for the first story.
I will take that win.
And I went first last time too. So
that's
so it's
true.
Only fair. But next time it's going to be a brutal, just like I'm going to be at least, 3 seconds within your time for sure.
Wow. Yeah. I'm going to wear my running shoes. I'm lacing them up.
I'm going to go barefoot. I have barefoot walking shoes.
Whoa.
I might just go barefoot.
Whoa.
Extra traction.
Whoa. Okay, I'm worried now. I'll be sweating this.
Yeah, I'll get tetanus to win this race. I don't give a shit.
Okay. All right. Well, until then.
Yeah.
In the meantime, Father's Day is coming up. Next weekend, I think.
I think you're right.
Okay. I am not the best child at celebrating Mother's Day and Father's Day. I will admit that. Just to start this.
I'm in that boat with you. Me and my brothers usually text each other about 18 hours before both of those. And we say, what can we get together that will look like we put time into this? So I feel that.
It's kind of fucked up, when it's like they did put us on this earth.
A little bit, but also like how hard is it to really have a kid, like to raise a kid?
That's true.
To raise a kid. But like if it was being a good Father's Day, I'd be like, yeah, we should celebrate this for sure because I'm lucky enough to have a great dad and a great mom. But just Father's Day, there are a lot of bad fathers out there. So I'm like, Dad, it's not that hard to become a father. So
That's
really,
true.
What should I give you?
See, Mother's Day is a little different because they did have to like literally carry your whole body around.
There you go.
For 9 months.
Father's Day, I understand. Mother's Day, you gotta step it up a little bit for sure.
All right. Well, so we might have 2 good fathers on Father's Day, but they're godfathers.
I like that.
I don't know if you're familiar with Robert Deniro.
Deniro, you said?
Yeah.
I've heard of him.
Okay, that's good. I think most people have.
Yeah. He was in that one movie.
Is it De Niro or De Niro? I didn't look that up.
I think it's De Niro.
Okay.
Robert De Niro.
Yeah. He's an attractive man. Even old. I mean, like he's an old man now. He's literally 79. He's going to be 80 this summer. He's a pretty good-looking old man.
I think he fucks. I'm just going to say it. Like Robert De Niro, I don't know what his marriage situation is, but either way, it doesn't matter because he's fucking. I totally agree with how good looking he is.
I am so down with him because I did some research on him because news broke that he's going to be having a child. Or may have already had said child. I don't know, but there's a child happening presently and he's about to be 80 years old. So I was like, I got to figure something out here. And he does fuck. You're right, because this child is here. But also, he specifically likes women of color. That's something I noticed like throughout looking at his relationship history. I was like, wow, he's got a type.
Yes.
And I respect that.
So are there any celebrities that make it on that list of women of color? I'm assuming you mean black women, not like women of color. And he's like, my favorite color is white. And you're like, whoa, Robert De Niro.
Yeah, I think I do think that they're black. Okay. I didn't want to just say black because I'm like, they might not be.
Dark,
but
black, Hispanic.
Yeah.
Middle Eastern. So like if you have a year-round tan without going in the sun, Robert De Niro's down.
Absolutely. So he's had 3 very significant relationships. And each of those three women are probably Black women or at least darker skinned women, which immediately I'm like, this man likes flavor.
Yes.
And that green flag.
Yeah.
And he was super hot back when he was like your age. I looked at him and was like, whoa, he's hot.
I could see him definitely liking flavor, especially at this point in his life, because the only thing that people say negatively that I've heard about Robert De Niro is that he had an outrageously successful first half to like 2/3 of his career, and now he's taking these roles that he doesn't have to take, or just like the movies he does with like The Bucket List with Morgan Freeman, or like I loved Meet the Parents, but it's just not like a typical funny. It's not like Raging Bull, it's not a Taxi Driver.
But is he tired?
I don't think so.
But I mean, maybe he just wants something else to do. You know, he doesn't want to shoot The Godfather. He doesn't want to do Taxi Driver anymore.
Yeah, so I think if he's not getting the flavor with his roles, he's like, how else can I get that flavor? Boom.
Latinas, new girlfriend,
Black girls.
Yes.
Indian.
Yeah.
Give me a brand of woman that will give me the spice that's lacking in my movie roles.
Yeah. And, you know, it's commendable because he's only had 3. He's like 80 and he's only had like 3 serious relationships. And he's only had, well, I might be wrong here. I think he has like 7 kids.
Oh, shit. So he has 7. So, okay. So like baby mama situation.
Yeah. But I think he only has 3 baby mamas. And you asked beforehand, like, would you know any of them? I don't think you would. Grace Hightower is like the most known partner of his, and that's just because they were together I think like 20 years or something, but I don't think any of these women are like relevant otherwise.
That's a good sign. I feel like you always hear about actors and actresses dating other big actors and actresses, and you know, you fall in love on set, everything's perfect, and then you go into real life and the shit falls apart most of the time. There are successful cases, but with Robert De Niro, it's good to see that he's like down to go against the cliche on-set romance. Yeah.
He's living his best life. He's on to his 7th kid. The age gap between his eldest child and now his youngest is 51 years.
Holy shit.
And you were mentioning to me earlier, you're like, oh, my brother's like 8 years older.
Like that was a big gap in my mind.
My sister is 14 years older. So I didn't even flinch when you said that because I was like, I know all about it. But now I've never seen such an age gap in my life. 51 years.
So he just had a kid, or is it so his oldest son or daughter is 51 and this kid is just born.
Yes.
That is crazy.
It is crazy. And then to make it crazier, his buddy, I don't know if you've heard of this guy, Al Pacino.
Is it Pacino or Pacino? I feel like I've heard his name.
Oh my God.
Pacino,
I don't know.
I think it's Pacino. I've never heard him say it.
I'm saying all their last names wrong.
I think I know.
I thought it was Pacino.
Yeah.
I
heard him. I saw him give a speech one time in a courtroom. And I thought he was on trial, but it ended up being a movie, Scent of a Woman.
Okay.
I thought it was like a domestic abuse case or something, but
so he was really good in that movie then.
Really good. He had me. I was like, you know, this is like
thought you were watching Judge Judy or something.
Or like a Johnny Depp Amber Heard situation, and like the credits start rolling, and I'm like, he's good. Like he's in it. So Al Pacino also just had a kid, you said?
Yes.
Okay.
And he's even older. He's like 83. So, and he's actually, did you know there's a Wikipedia list of like the oldest fathers? That's just the list. It literally lists old men that have kids.
Are they on that list?
Yes. They're going to be if they haven't been born yet.
Yeah, it has to be alive for 3 months to count.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like it doesn't count if it dies.
If you got 3 pumps and you came the first time you had sex, like, did you really lose your virginity? Like, you have to be in there for at least 2 to 3 minutes. Yeah. So it's like having a kid, same thing. You got to keep them alive for 2 to 3 months.
Gotta let it soak.
Yeah.
Gotta let it marinate.
What do you think goes through your mind when, let's say, Throw yourself forward 30, 40 years from now. Let's say you're in your 50s or 60s and you get a call from your dad who's, in his mid 80s, and he says, you're going to be a sister, or like
Yeah.
you're going to have another sister or a brother,
Yeah.
and you're 55 years old. Like, what is going through your mind at that point?
I'm like, bro, first, who are you sleeping with?
Yeah.
Is my first question.
Yeah.
Like, who is the mother of this child?
Who have you been keeping secret?
Yes. Granted, it seems like Al and Robert, like they are in a relationship. So Robert's with like a normal aged woman. And I say normal as in like closer to his
Within
age.
60 years.
Yes. Al is dating like a 29-year-old.
Oh, okay.
So there's a huge, what is that? Like a 50-year age gap between them?
Yeah, he's got to be 80.
Yeah, he's like 80 something.
Yeah.
So that's insane. Al was like, I didn't even know I could have a child. So he demanded a DNA test to this 29-year-old that I'm sure she was like, listen, Al, I was there. Like, I remember you doing that to me.
Yeah. That's got to be wild. Like you're 80 years old and you're not trying to have a kid, and then someone tells you you're going to have another son. Yeah. Like, first I would think, damn, my sperm still work. That's fucking sick. Like, I still got it. And then
most men do their whole lives. I think a lot of men don't know that. But you are.
I didn't know that. I assumed, like, I know women, obviously they get to an age where it's no longer safe to have a kid. But I just thought, like, when you're in your 70s or something, your sperm just, like, maybe a trooper will shoot through occasionally, but it's just for the most part it dries up.
It is less likely. But if you're fucking every day,
like Al Pacino.
Yeah, which I'm certain that these two men, because they're also buddies, because they've known each other. They both were born in New York, grew up in New York. I mean, they're in The Godfather together. They're in a lot of movies together, I think. Yeah. I actually, when I was on the train on my way here and I got off the train, who did I see on a poster?
Al Pacino.
And Robert De Niro.
For a new movie coming.
I have no idea because I was like exiting the train, but I just thought it was so funny that I was coming here to talk about them and how they're elderly men about to be fathers again. And there they are together.
Do you so you know how for a while it was a celebrity thing where you would just adopt a kid from Africa or some third world country.
Super cool trend.
And you just be like, if your career was going down the shitter, your agent would be like, adopt a kid from Ethiopia. Yeah. We'll get you on the cover of Variety, get some juice flowing. Is having a kid as an 87-year-old the new like flex when your career is waning? Like, maybe you're feeling out of it, you're not in the news cycles lately, you're an aging actor, and you're like, boom, I'm gonna have a, like, sure, I'll be dead before my kid is 9, but this is gonna get me some juice in the news.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like the new
you had the juice, now you're getting the juice. Yeah. God bless you.
She had the juice.
The juice was flowing.
The juice flowed into her. She produced with the juice.
Yeah. It was more like, did they decide that together? They were like, let's be dads again together.
There had to be some sort of conversation. So they can have
play dates. Now they can have play dates with the kids.
Yeah. There had to be some sort of conversation where it's like, listen, the mom, is going to be obviously the one raising the kid for the most part. Like, you're going to be gone. So if we do this, just know, my interaction with the kid is going to be me drunk on a rocking chair, telling him inappropriate stories. And then, like, I'm out by the time he's 11.
Like, I'm not even really going to try.
Yeah. Like, that's how I'm going to raise this kid.
There's no point in me trying.
Yeah. Like, my kid, like, we'll tell my kid that I'm his great grandfather so he won't be traumatized. And then he'll grow up and he'll be like, oh, my dad was 80 years older than me.
Yeah. Do you think, though, if your dad is like Al Pacino or something, do you care? Because you're going to be rich.
That's
I think
true.
You do kind of care, but do you care that it could go one or two ways where you're like, I don't care because my dad like left me such a massive inheritance and like he's a legend. So whatever. And my mom was cool. Like, I got raised well. Or you're like, my dad sucks because he was like an old man and I never did anything with him but go golfing like once.
I think it could go either way. I think you'll definitely be grateful for the financial cushion when you're older, assuming that the partner did not drain it, assuming that the partner handled it appropriately, and you were left, with like graduate high school, whatever, your trust fund kicks in when you're 25, boom, you have, $40 million. You're like, this is definitely sick. It might make you an asshole for sure if you get all of that too early. But at the same time, you'll definitely later in life at some point have to process that your dad came inside your mom at 84 years old and then was dead like 4 years later. You might not even remember. Like, how crazy would that be that your dad's Robert De Niro and you don't remember him, but you see him everywhere in movies and you're like, I wish I knew that guy. And then your memory starts to blend together with the movies because like maybe you're 4 or 5 years old when he passes away, but then like you're seeing movies of him. So like, you ever have that experience where like you don't know if it's your own memory or you're like remembering something you saw?
Yeah.
That would be your relationship with your father, which is crazy.
No. And now I'm also convinced like they're probably going to die while having sex.
Oh,
because a lot of men do. And I get it. It's a lot of work.
Yeah. It would be, I feel like a great way to die would be during, like, right when you come as a guy, but then you're slipping into that sort of like post-coital relaxation. And then as you're slipping, like literally there's fucking like you just busted inside your wife, she's on top of you, you have the morphine drip set up, so like you ride the orgasm into death. So it's like you're relaxing, you just busted, your heartbeat starts to slow down, the morphine drip is set to steadily increase, and then it just like you just ride the orgasmic wave into the afterlife. I feel like that could be the best way to go.
For him, yes. For her, trauma.
100%. For the guy, it's like you have nothing to care about because you're dead, and you basically just got heroin times 1,000 to pass out. And the woman is on top of you, looking at a blue body with a needle sticking out of it.
There's a limp, cold penis inside me now.
As you're, so I've heard in the guy's defense that if you die, sometimes you get erections, like rigor mortis of the dick.
That would make sense.
So like at least you can joystick it a little bit as you're crying back and forth.
She like doesn't even notice right away.
100%.
Because it's like doggy style. She doesn't even know. Yeah. She can't tell.
She's like, my husband turns a little bit blue every other day.
She does most of the work anyways.
She puts a glass mirror under his nose just to check if he's breathing. So she's like, oh, this is normal. And then, you know,
just hooked up with a dead Al Pacino.
Yeah. Which, you know, there are a lot of girls that would take that. It's still a celeb fuck. If he was inside you, if he was inside you while his heart was beating, it counts as a celeb fuck. Even if they died during the process, I would give that to him. Yeah.
His body was present.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that would hold up in court.
Yeah. You get to put a finger down when people are like, have you ever fucked a dead person?
Yeah.
Have you ever fucked a celebrity? I mean, these fingers are going down. Never have I ever. They're doing it all.
Wildest never have I ever game ball. Have you? The first question: have you ever fucked a celebrity down? Have you ever fucked a dead body down? Are those the same? Well, like, have you ever fucked a dead celebrity down? There's a lot of downs there. There's a lot of reasons.
Yeah, and when people are like, "Why do you work out?" My answer is always, so I don't die while having sex.
Are you worried about that right now?
Well, no, not right now because I'm young. But while I'm having sex, I'm like, listen, I'm doing a lot of the work here. And, you know, cardio. Like you feel your heart pumping afterwards. You're like, whoa, I just worked out for an hour or whatever.
That would be a good sign in a gym, especially for older people where you have in front of the cardio machines. Do you want to be that story of dying in the middle of sex?
Yeah.
And then, or even like a motivational podcast where they just tell stories of people who have died during sex. And then you're just like, I'm going to keep it going.
People need to know this is very normal and very common.
100%.
And I don't want to traumatize my girlfriend.
Yes.
It's not going to happen now, but you know, 50 years from now, I don't want to traumatize her by just like falling like limp onto her body.
Yeah.
Dead.
Yeah. It would be, well, falling. It depends what position the dying person would be in. Because I feel like the easiest to handle would be doggy style. The person dying is in doggy style. Because then they kind of just like fall forward. You don't have to see their
like
face.
Fall over.
Yeah, exactly. And then they just
cover them up.
Yeah, exactly. And then you don't have to like, you don't see their face. The last thing you remember is like when they were alive. And this is how you get followers on a podcast. You just talk about like which position is the best for necrophilia.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Yeah. I mean, once again, we're on our Jeffrey Dahmer stuff.
Yeah, 100%.
Like this is what we love to talk about,
Yes.
apparently.
Speaking of people, watch this transition. Speaking of people who are probably going to die during sex, I saw a story about Donald Trump in the news.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He's a top candidate because he's not in good health. A lot of Diet Cokes.
Yeah.
Too many.
He beat COVID, but I mean, mortality during sexual intercourse is another thing. So that's yet to be seen.
Yeah.
But I saw a story. This has been all over, obviously, but Trump has been officially indicted.
Yes.
And just as background, like I am following this story just like any other uninformed person would follow the story in the news, which is if someone says Trump indictment, you're like, did that happen yet? Like, I thought that was going to happen last year.
Yeah.
And now I'm just like, okay, it officially happened. So let me see the nature of the charges. I heard he was hiding documents and all that shit, but this is from the New York Post. And the title of this article is called "The Trump Indictment Speaks for Itself." So the indictment of Donald J. Trump in the first ever federal criminal case against the former president, which was released on Friday afternoon by the Justice Department, is a holy shit document. That might not be the proper legal term for it, but in a word inured to the shocks and outrages generated by Trump, it's worth pausing to acknowledge the jaw-dropping nature of the charges against him. Revelations start at the top of the 44-page filing and keep coming. The former president of the United States retained nuclear secrets and classified war plans for how to respond to a foreign attack. He kept top secret information about the military capabilities of other countries. He stashed this information in his bathroom, in his bedroom, and even in the Mar-a-Lago ballroom.
The bathroom?
Yes, the bathroom.
Where in the bathroom?
And I'm going to show you a picture of these documents so you can like get an idea of what was recovered.
Yeah,
so,
please.
Like that, can you see like those cardboard boxes? I'm turning the
they're just standard like printing company boxes with lids.
Literally. So I'm like, if he's stealing nuclear launch codes, if he's stealing our country's deepest, darkest secrets, how secret can these things be if they're being stored in the same thing that my third grade teacher used to store past files? Where I'm literally like, this looks like the closet that my teacher told me not to go into because it's just all cardboard boxes. And so like, in order for Trump to steal these, he had to walk out of first he had to photocopy them, because I'm assuming he didn't take the originals. Who knows? These might be the original documents.
He just carried them out.
That's even worse. Like I hope he had to go through the trouble of photocopying them, because at least that's a little more secretive. But like I have to sign into my iPhone with my face to read TMZ.
Yeah.
I can steal the United States nuclear codes with a Xerox machine and then walk out the front door and literally carry them like I'm carrying something to the principal's office. Like that is wild.
And that's his reading material while he's on the toilet.
Yes. So
great material.
When I heard the Trump is stealing things in the bathroom or hoarding these documents in the bathroom, the first image that popped into my head is Trump sitting on the toilet, like just taking a Trump shit. He's got Fox News, like those TVs. You ever see like in fancy bathrooms, like you walk into your rich friend's house and there's like a TV in the mirror. Yeah. And you're like, what the fuck? Like,
I don't think I've ever seen one in real life, but I've seen them on TV.
I've had it where like there's a remote control next to my friend's toilet, and I'm just like, oh, I guess the mom left the, like she was watching TV, took a shit and just brought it in with her. And then I started playing around with it. And there's a fucking TV
Amazing.
in the mirror. So I imagine Trump has Fox News on that TV. He's taking a shit. And then all of a sudden he sees like a crack in his ceiling tile above him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got the nuclear documents. And he's just looking at the crack and he's just like, no one's ever gonna find these.
Yeah.
And he's just like, has this revelation. He's like, I'm just gonna shove them in the fucking Mar-a-Lago bathroom ceiling tile and just store. And like people walk in on him, they're like, what are you doing? And he's just like, nothing, just checking the mold, spraying,
They're
looking.
like, you've never done that before.
Yeah, like you're just put like the most cliche thing in every action crime movie, which is you store the hidden jewelry or the cash in the ceiling. He's like, no one's ever gonna find this.
Yeah. Well, I saw recently that I saw a video that basically like 2D mapped out where a lot of these documents were. And because Mar-a-Lago, it's like he lives there, but it's also a public place.
Yeah.
And the door that you could go in to get these documents is like open all the time because it's right in the courtyard where people have like their weddings or whatever events that get booked there. Like you could just walk in and look through these documents.
Yeah. That's crazy. Like,
I would have loved that if I stumbled upon that. You wouldn't have found me in any wedding pictures. I would have been in there reading those documents.
Could you imagine, like, I've had moments when I used to go into the office before COVID where I would be, you know, there's filing cabinets, like I have my desk set up and then there's just like old files from past years that you don't give a fuck about, but occasionally you have to go into the cabinet to grab a highlighter or something and you're like, no one's touched these files in years. I wonder what they are. And then you have that experience at Mar-a-Lago where you're just like buzzed at a wedding. You open the wrong door to the bathroom. It's just like a bunch of file cabinets. That's one of the boxes says something on it. It says Mac bedroom. So I don't know, like someone named Mac, but like you're opening a box.
It's from the Mac that's in the bedroom.
There you go. So you're buzzed at a wedding, you open up a box that says like Charlie socks and you pick out the first document and it says, in order to launch the Montana nuclear base strike, please call General MacArthur and say the code, tomatoes make me feel happy. And you're just and you're just like, what am I reading right now? And then after that, it's just
I'm feeling lucky tonight.
After that, it's like, to disappear Iran, call this number and say filthy socks. And you're just like, what the fuck is going on?
I would absolutely go through that. I'm a really nosy person, admittedly, because, and this came up recently because I was in Jamaica last week and like we were rushing to leave. We just didn't, when we have a cat sitter over or whatever, like we usually try to tidy up, hide the drugs.
100%.
Hide everything.
100%.
You know, we don't need
in the
this
ceiling tile.
Yeah, exactly. In the bathroom, in the ceiling. But this time, like, I didn't even remember. So my partner was like, oh, don't worry about it. Like, she's not going to go in the bedroom. I was like, I looked at her. I was like, are you sure? Because is this just me? But every house I've ever sat, every pet sitting situation, I'm going in every room.
100%.
Unless the door is shut and does not look inviting or is locked or something, I'm going in there.
First thing I do, especially if it's like sometimes it's an Airbnb situation where I'm staying in a private room, but there are other parts to the house and the host doesn't say explicitly don't go in here.
Then I'm going in.
The first thing I do is like, I need to find out the secrets of this Airbnb. Like, is this a sauna? Is it a sex chamber? Like, what am I?
You don't want to end up like Barbarian. Have you seen that horror movie?
No.
Oh, well, I don't want to spoil it, but it's very much, it's based on like an Airbnb. And there's more.
There's more to it.
Yes, there's more to that.
C.
Yeah. CD all the way down. I mean, there's all the way down to M.
It's Airbnb BDSM.
Exactly. There was a lot of interesting activities. I think it's on HBO. You should watch it because it was a pretty fun horror movie.
Amazing.
But it was same thing. Like, and they went in rooms maybe they shouldn't have went into. But
what happened with the drugs and everything for your cat sitter? Did she end up? discovering anything?
Well, maybe. I honestly, this is more about me, but would I know if somebody really like smoked some of my weed or something?
I would leave a thank you card. I would say like, by the way, I was cleaning up, saw
Right?
saw like a roach or maybe like half a joint left,
Yeah.
and I was like, I just, it was out and
Hmm.
I was thirsty.
Yeah. That unlocked like a childhood memory of mine where, not really child, but maybe legally, I was probably like 17. Back in high school, I remember my friend used to like, her parents smoked weed. So if we were ever out of weed, she would just go like take some of her dad's weed. And he was not cool with that because you have to be like not cool with
Yeah.
your 17-year-old smoking weed.
17, I feel like I would be cool with. 13,
Yeah.
I would like, I'd be like, I got to lay down the law. You can't be smoking weed at 13.
It's too
17,
young.
17, I'd be like, you
I
could have
feel the
gotten
same way.
married in, like, there are countries where you're getting married at 12, 13 years old. So I'd be like, 17, smoke weed. I'd rather you do this than harder drugs.
I feel the same way. I think my girlfriend probably feels differently. So we're at a disagreement.
Do you guys want kids?
We do.
Okay. That's going to be an interesting clash.
Yeah.
Like the 13 to 17 age range, like what deserves punishment
Yeah.
and what is just like, let's just let this kid discover parts of life.
It's an interesting balance because I think she's really, she's a scientist. So she's really like aware of health effects and all of that. But I'm also like, at what point, if we stunt this now, it's only going to be worse later.
Well, you have the perfect combination as a scientist with a scientist partner, because I also have the same where it's like you have access to a toolkit that is able to make drugs and test them and perform. Like my girlfriend could be performing, she's a neuroscientist, so like could be performing an experiment on me right now. Like she could have put amphetamines, in my protein shaker. I haven't drank a protein shake in forever. More realistic would be like the seltzer, the seltzer that we're drinking right now.
No more C4
the
for
caffeine.
Zach.
Yeah, she's putting like Molly in my roast beef, and she's like, by the way, the last 3 years I've been running a microdosing Molly experiment on. But like, as a scientist, your girlfriend could test the drugs of your kid. So that's a plus, that they're not going to become a fentanyl story.
Thank
and
God.
2, actually explain the body's responses to your kid, because like the number one thing that freaked me out during college when I started smoking weed, getting into other drugs, is that the only thing I knew before that is that drugs are bad, essentially. Like my parents were like, they were okay with weed, but like everything else, like mushrooms, Molly, blow, like there's obviously a huge spectrum of drugs, but I didn't know what my body was supposed to feel like on them, because I never had anyone say, like, just so you know, sometimes if you smoke weed, your heart can feel like it's racing. Maybe your throat feels like it's closing up a little bit because it's dry. That doesn't mean you're passing away. That just means that you're, you're a little bit too high sometimes. And so I went into college, and a lot of other people had this experience where they don't know what the effects of weed are, or maybe you smoke weed for a year or two and every time is good, and then out of nowhere you could just get hit with like, you're just punched in the face with a panic attack, and no one was ever like, you're not dying, it's just, this is just something that happens. So I feel like you would be good at the emotional relatability aspect, much like me, where I could just be like, hey, just this is an effect of what you're going to be doing. And then your partner and my partner could be like, this is like the breakdown of what it's doing to your body. Like, these are the bad drugs, these are the better drugs. Here, this is like the cold hard facts.
Yeah. It's really funny that we're living like mirrored lives.
Yeah.
I was thinking, I was like, we should do
White mirror.
A podcast where it's like me and my girlfriend and you and yours, because it's just like we're like the Spider-Man meme where we just point at each other. I'm like, that's us.
100%. That is crazy. Like I feel like we both have similar style. But like you said, you wear like a lot of, like, not a lot of super bright colors, but like gray, black. Like I'm the same way. And then we both date scientists.
Neuroscientists.
Yes. Which is crazy.
It's kind of strange.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here we are. We made it.
Well, yeah, the podcastception. We'll definitely have an episode like that. Was there anything else you came across this week in terms of like a story or something interesting?
Well, I saw something interesting.
What did you say?
I saw Martha Stewart looking so fine on Sports Illustrated.
Really?
As an 81-year-old woman.
I thought you were about to say Jamaica, and I was like, no fucking
I
way.
saw
Like
Martha
you saw her
Stewart
down there too. Yeah.
Jamaica.
You're just like in lounge.
God.
You turn in a lounge chair, and she's drinking a gin and tonic.
I would have had the time of my life. Sidebar: Jamaica was incredible, and the people are so nice. So had I seen Martha Stewart, I would have smoked weed with her.
100%.
I think my girlfriend would give me a green card, like a green light to hook up with.
Hall pass?
Yes.
A green card. My girlfriend would let me become a German citizen to hook up with Martha Stewart.
She would let me do that.
Yeah.
Actually. Is it? Yeah, a hall pass. I guess
hall
that's
pass,
not very common in my world. We don't really talk about hall passes.
You don't have you've never talked about like top 5 if you run across a celebrity.
We're just pretty open with the idea that like, yeah, if we're ever in a situation where there's like a hot celebrity around or just like you just want to, you just already have it. We've never ranked it, but it's just like we're both like, come on. Yeah. Are you gonna say no?
Yeah. Do you find the open relationship is more in gay relationships than it is in straight relationships? Because I feel like I hear about it more in the gay world.
Specifically gay, like men, or just LGBT?
LGBT, lesbian or gay. Is gay only guys? Like girls? Lesbian is not technically gay.
I mean, yeah, technically a lot of lesbians use the term gay. I actually don't, because I'm like, why not just say you're lesbian?
That's true.
I think lesbians are still like shamed into like just being like, oh, I'm gay. Because I do think society kind of accepts gay men a little bit more, at least like other girls. They're like, oh, my gay best friend. So maybe not as cool to be like, oh, my lesbian best friend.
I feel like the first ones to break through were the hot gay men because people were like it was a lot of guys that were athletes or actors that like people already like Neil Patrick Harris.
Yeah.
Like such a likable dude. And then he's like, by the way, I'm gay. And then like he broke through the barrier, and then like the other guys are in there now, but it was like a lagging period before like you could be ugly and accepted as being gay. And I feel like lesbians not get caught in the ugly part, but like the afterthought of the first wave of guys breaking through.
I mean, and what do we have? We have Rosie O'Donnell.
And
Ellen.
That's
it. Now there are more modern. Well, like Queen Latifah. There are some like in that gen, but yeah, I mean there are more modern, I guess, lesbians in the celeb world. I think, but yeah, no. To answer your question, I do think a lot of open relationships come with men involved, typically.
Because it's just like more aggressive sexually.
Yeah. I could not be in an open relationship because I don't have the time to be juggling all of that.
I've thought about it where it's like, I've honestly sat down and been like, what would it take for me to be okay being in an open relationship? I can't full on date multiple people because it's already a full-time job being there for somebody, like being emotionally, physically, mentally there for another person. And I don't want to lead another girl on assuming that me and my girlfriend have an agreement where we are allowed to be in an open relationship. Like I don't want to lead another girl on, have sex with her, and then like push her out emotionally to make it work for me. So I legitimately thought like, if I was in an open relationship, I think I'd have to like leave the country and just have flings or hire prostitutes. And so there's like no emotional attachment.
I think same. Like the only way I see myself in a non-monogamous situation is like me and my girlfriend are long distance. And if I go to Europe, I mean, I could get lonely over there. I mean,
because that's true. Like it's
Who doesn't like European women? Is your partner
so
European?
she's French. She's
Okay,
French.
okay.
I thought she was British the first time we met because she has a strong British affect because she learned to speak English in the UK.
Yeah.
And so I thought I fucked up the Hinge profile of the girl I was looking at before the date because I met her. She was like, "Hi, I'm Julie," and I was like, "Fuck, I thought you were French." And I went into the bathroom, checked her profile again, and I was like, "No, this is the girl, but it says she's from France. I'm not fucking this up." And then she said, "Yeah, I've learned to speak English." Like said the whole reason. But yeah, no, there are all different types of attractive women. I would say if it was going to work for me, it can't be in the area where I'm staying. I don't want to worry about, not that it would be behind my partner's back, but I wouldn't want to run into them with my partner. And I'd want there to be like a clean break. Like we're not talking after. This is like, we're both feeling good about this is just a 1 day or a 1 week thing. And then boom, gone.
Yeah, exactly. I wonder if Al Pacino and Robert De Niro feel the same.
Do you think that they're having kids to
there might
throw
be
people
more.
off the scent that they're actually together?
Who knows how many kids they really have? I mean, they could have a bunch.
Yeah,
that we don't know about.
So what did you think about seeing Martha Stewart in Sports Illustrated before I sidetracked you?
No, she looked great. I mean, I'll pull it up for you.
Yeah. Yeah, let me see.
Just to be real here, like as a woman, I can tell from the pictures that she...
Don't turn it too much towards me because I am wearing flexible pants. So
okay,
I'll take a strong look.
Yeah. So as a woman,
Martha
I can tell in some of the pictures, like, you know, all the poses are kind of like hiding like the midriff section, which listen, I get it. Like, especially when you're 80. Has Martha had children? She has had one child.
Okay.
Didn't even know that. Who is that? Let's see. Sports Illustrated.
Some lucky girl or guy.
You're about to see so many photos right now.
Give it to me.
Here, just like take the laptop and take a little personal look. But so I can tell they're all strategically posed. So she's hiding her central region, her stomach, all of that. But she looks great. She's 81 years old. She looks fantastic. Please. Yeah. She looks so good. I absolutely would hit that.
She looks...
Because she's a good time as well.
Yeah.
It's a full package right there.
I mean, so if... oh my God.
She doesn't want anything from you either. So you get to just have fun.
No strings attached.
Exactly.
Unfortunately.
Do you think Snoop Dogg has hit that?
100%.
Because they hang out all the time, and he has a wife that he's always very respectful of.
Yeah.
But I'm like,
I think because they get so high together, they have to be on some sort of like THC frequency where you get high enough where you just feel the person's soul enough to be like, we could fuck right now and like it wouldn't be a problem at all.
Wouldn't matter.
Yeah, we're just two souls combining on like this plane of life.
We're just friends.
It's not even sex because it's mostly our souls are inside of each other, not our penises and vaginas.
Gotta love a good friend that you can just hook up with, and then it doesn't matter.
So if I'm being honest, which I always want to be.
Okay.
If I didn't like, let's say she wasn't Martha Stewart and she was just some random woman. If I was single and I was out in, let's say, Jamaica, because it looks like a tropical destination, and I saw her and I was single at a bar, and maybe I was working some other girls and they just, they weren't having it that night, that were in the 20, 30 age range, and I was about 7 to 9 drinks deep, I would genuinely pursue this version of Martha Stewart.
Yep.
Sober, if I was single, I would hook up with her because she's Martha Stewart, but also I'd be like, she's not bad. Like, she's amazing for her age, and like, this isn't a hookup I'd be ashamed of, even if she didn't have the Martha Stewart status.
Yeah, even if she wasn't Martha Stewart, if I'm at a resort and I see this lady, I'm like, this lady's going to buy me a drink. She's going to take me back to her probably really nice room.
The penthouse presidential suite.
We're definitely hooking up.
100%.
And then I already know, like, she doesn't care if she ever sees me again. She's probably like, thank you, honey, for a good time.
Yeah.
If I see you at the bar later, sure. But, you know, we don't really ever need to talk again if you don't want to.
She's going to get you high, open those thighs, and say goodbye.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I'm going to say to her if I meet her.
Yeah, she is like the real life Jennifer Coolidge in White Lotus.
I haven't seen White Lotus. Okay. I heard about it last night. I haven't seen the show. So Jennifer Coolidge is like the you know, sort of like
the older woman,
the
in
old
the show
classy,
that's rich, and
wears fur coats, billionaire.
Yeah, and that's Martha in real life. I mean, I guess it's Jennifer Coolidge in real life too, but I don't know that much. I mean, Jennifer Coolidge, totally different. I mean,
yeah. I think just also the experience of Martha Stewart, like you said, where you'd be going to a cream of the crop resort place. Yeah. You'd be like, she has a resort attached to the resort that you're not even allowed to go. Like, so you walk down those hallways sometimes in a resort, and there's the you know, the whole hallway is blocked off, and it's for like a celebrity ballroom or something.
More on lock than these documents in Trump's bathroom.
Exactly. Yeah, it's hard. It's harder to get FaceTime with Martha Stewart than it is to blow up Iran.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow. Well,
maybe, I mean, you know, she probably would be able, I mean, she definitely would be able to get the launch codes out of me if I knew them, and she didn't have the documents. And she was like, by the end of tonight, you're going to tell me how to put the Earth in a nuclear disaster. And I'd be like, no shot. And then 4 minutes later, I'd be like, I can't believe I gave you everything.
Damn, Martha.
Yeah.
It was so good.
So good. So we're at about an hour right now. Do you want to, I was going to take a break to go to the bathroom. Do you want to try to do one more story and then wrap it up?
Yeah. Bathroom break would be so nice.
Amazing. So we are back from a bathroom and refresh seltzer break.
Yes. Which I've never had this type of seltzer before.
How do you feel about the mango? It's good. I have the strawberry.
I like the mango. I had never eaten a mango until I met my girlfriend.
That was how she asked you out. She was like, will you eat my mango like I watch you eat this one?
Yeah.
Try it out.
Pretty much. Yeah. And mango.
I like that. Very romantic.
Yeah. We love romance in our home. But mango is so good.
Yes.
It's amazing.
I enjoy. So I don't remember having, like, the last time I ate a mango, I honestly can't tell you if I've had one, but I like the mango flavor.
Wait, so you've never had a mango?
I don't think so.
Why is this? Is this a white people thing?
I guess.
I'm just like...
Do other races eat a ton of mangoes?
Specifically like white American. Because maybe mangoes just like aren't that...
To be honest, I'm not entirely sure what a mango looks like. Like if you put a mango in front of me and another tropical fruit that kind of looks like it's in the family, I couldn't be like, that's a guava and that's a mango. I'd be like a 50-50 shot.
A guava is a thing?
It's just something I've seen on the back of a can that has fruit flavors in it.
Okay, well, mango...
What does a mango look like?
This is a guava, and it looks like a apple on the outside, kind of.
Okay, I wouldn't know that because it kind of looks like an orange on the inside.
I wouldn't know what a guava looks like either. But a mango, you've seen mangoes at the store.
Yeah, bring up a mango.
There are two different types of mangoes, though. There's, because they, I think, come from different places. So this...
See, I would have thought that was some random tropical fruit that has a name that I don't know. The diced stuff on the inside, I've seen that on platters, and I'm like, that's a mango. But I didn't know the outside was reddish green. I probably wouldn't have gotten that right.
Weirdly, my girlfriend only eats this kind, which is like the all yellow.
All yellow.
Yeah, so they'll be green when they're not ready.
Yeah,
and then you have to like smell them. I mean, my girlfriend's Jamaican, so
okay.
Well, she's Jamaican American, but in Jamaica, mangoes are like prolific. They're everywhere. Mangoes and coconuts.
Yeah.
And other great fruit. But
so that's like mangoes in Jamaica are like high fructose corn syrup in America. They're just everywhere.
Right. Exactly right. So she like eats mangoes like crazy. And that's why I had never I too had never had a mango. So this is so weird that the both of us have like never grew up in America, never had a mango.
Yeah, now that I'm looking at the diced, like with the
you've
inside
seen it.
overlay, I'm pretty sure I've tried that. But if you gave me a whole mango and it was like, who wants to be a millionaire, $1 million question, like, do you want to just answer this or phone a friend? I'd have to like use my 50-50, phone a friend, like be absolutely sweating profusely, and then I'd finally eat the mango to rehydrate, get electrolytes. Yeah.
I think I'm gonna get you like a bag of mangoes.
Please.
So you can just indulge.
That would be it's a great present, honestly.
It really is.
I'd appreciate that.
And they taste really good.
Yeah.
They're good for you. I mean, fruit is amazing that it exists on the planet. I know that's a ridiculous thought, but it's like, wow, look at this planet.
Sometimes you just got to sit back and appreciate,
you're like, whoa,
like there's things on this planet that exist, and it's just amazing because it does.
Yes, like Martha Stewart,
like Martha Stewart, sunsets, and mangoes. Those are all things that we can just appreciate because they exist. I appreciate this next person who exists so I'll just go into the title of the story because it pretty much says what you need to know. The title is Ex-Con Teacher's Aide Booted from a New York City School After Using Inappropriate Language Around Kids. So it starts off, Mark Antonio Jeffries, who was accused of yelling at a teacher and using inappropriate language with children, was told not to return to P35 Nathaniel Woodhull High School or elementary school, whatever it is. I think it was younger kids, so probably elementary school, beginning Monday by Principal Anisha Jacko, said a source familiar with the decision. So basically, they hired an ex-con, sounds like he's fresh out of jail, and he used inappropriate language around kids. So my thing is like, what did you expect from a guy who the last meaningful interactions he had in a group full of people, he was worried about projecting confidence in a prison, not getting butt raped.
Yes.
And like asserting dominance.
Holding on to the soap.
And then you put him in a room full of 6-year-olds and he drops like, good motherfucking morning. And you're like, you're done.
Do we know exactly what he said? Did he say?
It didn't say in the story. It just said he was using inappropriate language around the kids.
That could be anything.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, anything could be considered inappropriate language.
Yeah. And also, like, I'm assuming it was curse words.
Yes.
But also, it's like, if you just get out of prison, I feel like you get a 2-week grace period of prison muscle memory, which is just like things you said and did in prison that you still do, but you're no longer in prison. You have another job. And like, you're probably dropping like motherfuckers, F-bombs. You're just like, what's up, motherfuckers? And like, he's like, oh, you're 4. Like your mom, you're like, this kid's still breastfeeding for some reason. Like, I can't just be like calling this kid like a sly ass bitch because they like were trying to lie to me about homework.
It's not like a
pussy ass
prisoner
bitch.
really is around kids very often, right?
Yeah, it's just like, drink your milk, cocksuckers. And you're just like, oh, sorry, that's how I,
eat everything on your tray.
Yeah, you little ass bitch.
Or you will starve.
Yeah. Don't drop the soap, motherfucker.
That is crazy because, Godspeed to that ex-con for just trying to get back out there.
I bet he was trying where he was like catching himself doing it, but the teacher was just watching him and he had dropped too many F-bombs. The kids, I bet you the kids didn't even care, but they started talking
they hear
like
that every day
and the
at
parents
home.
complain.
Yeah.
Because they're like,
true.
Why is my kid telling me to get back in my cell, you trife ass bitch? the mom's like, my kid just told me to do 100 push-ups and shut the fuck up. Where is this coming from?
No,
Feed me my gruel. Like, give me my prison slop, motherfucker.
That is amazing. They all come home with like specific prison haircuts.
Yeah, they like there's like
they
just
all
like
come home with
5-year-olds with
cut.
teardrop tattoos with a buzz cut. He's like, give me a tattoo in the bathroom, like use a coat hanger, and the mom's like, who are you?
My uncle has a teardrop tattoo.
Really?
And I've not really dug into that.
Are you close with your uncle?
He is like technically not even my biological uncle. It's one of those, trailer park family situations where like the woman he's married to, my aunt, who's also not actually, she's like my great aunt, I think, but she's younger. So, and she's not even a part of the family. She was married to my grandma's brother. That fell apart and we kept her. We got rid of the actual DNA relative.
Okay.
We got rid of him because he sucked. So then we kept her and then she got remarried to this uncle that has a teardrop tattoo.
So did he go to prison?
I think so. He was like
could have bodies.
I think
could have bodies.
He does. Like I've never asked him because now he's like kind of reformed. He's always been like reformed now where he is very polite, but he has a prison mentality. Like the type of prison guy that's like they come out and they've definitely seen some shit, but they're really polite and they really care about
100%
certain people in their lives.
I've never been super close with anyone who's spent a lot of time in prison, but I've been around them for shorter periods of time where they're genuinely caring, fantastic people to be around, like entertaining, great storytellers.
Yeah.
Like you have to do that to survive in prison, but at the same time they still have like that muscle memory of the prison habits where they can tap into that if they need to. And it's like disrespect is huge with them.
Yes.
Like you don't threaten them. Like there's still, trauma from being locked up. But there's super a lot of people that come out of prison, like they're, truly a delight to be around, but just not, you're not an everyday person because you've had a non-everyday experience.
Absolutely. I don't even know his real name. So we call him Uncle Willie. I don't know if Will is his real name. There's so much I need to unpack.
I'm thinking, like, does he drink or smoke? Like, because I'm thinking
he definitely smokes.
I'm thinking
he used to drink. I don't know. Actually, yeah, I'd say he still drinks. Yeah.
I think like, it's the summer. People are hanging out outside, drinking, having buzz conversations. Maybe next time you run into him, if you're at a family affair or something, you're just like, hey, Uncle Willie, like, what's with the teardrop? And he's like 4 beers deep, and he's just like, I was waiting for this day.
But for me, I feel like he would answer. He'd be like, sweetheart, you don't want to know.
Is he like a Southern dude?
I mean, he's older. He's not technically Southern. Maryland is weird. I mean, I'm from Maryland. So it's like that weird kind of cusp of like, you could be considered Southern.
You have Southern values. Like a lot of people that are older. It's like Virginia too. It's like not really the South, but there are a lot of people with Southern values.
Yeah. So that's what I mean, where he's like really protective over like women in the family, girl. Like, I don't think he would ever tell me the truth. But I'm imagining my Uncle Willie teaching a class.
Yeah.
Like an ex-con. And I'm like, I think they mean well. I don't think it's going that bad.
See, I think it would be good for the kids, but it's just like in the PC culture we have, you can't slip up even a little bit as a teacher, especially with people. So like, sure, he might drop some F-bombs, he, every once in a while, like threatened to choke out Sally in the corner, but like he doesn't do it. It's just like he's flashing. He's having a prison flashback
like
in the middle of class.
Steals all the little Sally's shit.
Yeah.
He like trades. Good luck in commissary. Yeah, bitch.
He trades a kid a pack of cigarettes for his lunch. Like he's just falling back into old habits. But I think like overall, if you ask the kids at the end of the year, are you proud of Professor Uncle Willie? They'd be like, best teacher I've ever had, best experience I've ever had.
Aren't we in like a teacher crisis right now? Don't we need as many
we needed
ready
this
and
aid.
willing?
We needed this aid in New York City. We needed this person.
Where is he now? We want to get him hired again.
I think you ask Uncle Willie what at some point when the time is right, what the teardrop is.
Yeah.
And then at some point in the future, we have him on the podcast.
I would
like
love
talk about prison.
I was thinking about that. I literally was thinking about that too. I was like, people are going to watch this and then they're going to never forget my Uncle Willie.
100%.
And they're going to be like, we need to hear about Sam's Uncle Willie. We must hear from him.
100%. So there's some more stuff about the ex-con.
Please.
So the article goes on to say, well, he was using inappropriate language with children, was told not to return. You know, not that bad for an
Okay.
ex-con. Then the story goes on.
Oh, God.
The City Department of Education's Office of Special Investigations, way too long of a name, is looking into Jeffrey's role and conduct in the school. In April 2010, Jeffries was accused of throwing another man up against a wall and threatening him with a gun drawn from a holster outside the Poconos International Basketball Camp for use. Now, that's a little worse.
Yeah.
That's like, F-bomb is one thing.
Wielding a gun.
Wielding,
Different.
like putting a metallic barrel in a man's mouth in front of children
At the Poconos.
and the Pocono at a youth basketball camp
Come
in the
on.
Poconos. Like, that's supposed to be like refreshing family time. Like, I draw the line at knives. If it was like a switchblade that this guy broke out and he like put it to the guy's throat and like, you know, you just have a switchblade on you, people care. But like, he loaded that to go to a youth basketball camp, and he's like, I might need to smoke someone at this children's camp.
I don't think they really have a good boundary of like they're always on edge.
Yeah.
Right? I really think my uncle is always on edge. I think this guy's like always on edge. I think him teaching was the best thing for him.
Yeah.
Because these little kids are about the safest place he can be.
Yeah. And
with
look,
these little kids.
He did almost blow a guy's head off in front of a children's basketball team.
Almost.
But they didn't say what the other guy did. Like, maybe
could have been.
Maybe this guy had called a timeout that lasted too long. Like, timeouts are supposed to be 30 seconds.
He made a
maybe
bullshit
this guy
call.
called a timeout for 30 seconds and he kept his kids in the huddle for a minute. And the ex-con was like, no one goes over time. Taste this piece. And that's acceptable to me.
We've all been at a children's sports game, or we've been the child that has been playing in a game where it just got fucking crazy.
I was in the subway the other day, and I was the subway just switched over to the credit card instead of the Metro card.
Yeah.
And like, I tapped it and it didn't work the first time. And then the guy behind me put the gun to my temple and said, tap the fucking card. And I tapped it and I went through and I thanked him after. I said, thank you so much for calling me out. That was totally acceptable. And so I see nothing wrong. I see nothing wrong with this. It's a little worse than cursing, but it's kids. A school shooter is going to happen eventually to these kids with the rate it's going in America.
This is true.
You might as well get introduced to a gun being stuck in someone's face early on. I think it's productive. He might have been trying to teach that lesson.
Exactly. And if it's for a good cause, like keeping this game going,
yes, 100%.
We can't keep fouling all the time.
Yeah.
We can't stop with the timeouts. We've got 60 minutes. Let's get this game going.
Yeah.
Someone's going to be a winner and someone's going to be a loser.
100%. I think they should have.
And at the end, he just fires off into the air, the open air.
Fires off into the air. That's phase one. And then I think the next semester, you have a prison elementary school exchange program where you send third graders to prison and they have a 46-year-old homicidal inmate and they learn what life is about.
A new modern edition of Beyond Scared 100%. Straight.
Kids are getting too soft these days, and they have to be introduced very, very early on. Like, our ancestors literally used to throw our kids to wolves, and we'd have to kill a wolf and come back and be like, I'm a man now.
Yeah.
The wolf, the prison, the inmate is just the human version of the wolf. And I think you send a kid to prison, he comes back with 6 scalps, and you're like, you get to graduate 3rd grade.
3rd grade. You now know all your vows, and also you know how to shank somebody.
Yeah. A-E-I-O-U and I-O-U, a bullet to the skull.
An eye
boom
for an eye.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how it works. The kid comes back with 3 teardrops and you're like, isn't that for bodies? And the kid's like, yeah, what the fuck is it to you?
Yeah.
And you're like, okay.
We could make little machines out of these kids.
100%. And send them to war instead. They'd just be like hardened midgets. Just like robotic
Exactly.
midget. Yeah. It would throw like if we just sent in like robotic children to the Taliban, they like because you get hit with the cuteness first, like a
Yeah.
dog, like a puppy dog or like a kid. You're like, oh my, like you're so
Mm-hmm.
cute, and then you get 6 rounds to the chest, and you're
Mm-hmm.
like,
Caught you
what the fuck?
sleeping.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. I'm here for hardening up the kids,
yeah.
hardening up the children.
I say rehire this ex-con. I am totally
He does.
against.
It's for his best interest that
Yeah,
he has a job.
yeah,
What else is he gonna do?
yeah. There are teachers out there that are having sex with kids and they get to keep their
Yeah,
job. And this guy put a gun in one person's mouth and he gets thrown
probably
out.
for good
Yeah.
reason.
And the kids are safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't see there's nothing in that article that says and people were injured.
Yeah.
Not a thing.
Even if they were, like, what happened to the kids? Even if you blew that guy's head off in the gym, it's like, well, the kids now learned a lesson that you
Yeah.
don't mouth off to an ex-con. And
The
that's
kids are already in a gang.
100%.
They didn't realize by just going to class that they were in like a gang initiation.
The ex-con and like he initiated them into the gang secretly, and they're just like they're leaving school and like they see cars following them, and they're just like, wait, why is the same guy following me the whole way home? And the teacher comes in the next day, he's like, you're a Crip now, like this is your protection.
It's next level, like cult vibes.
I'd rather my kid be in a gang than a cult, for sure.
They're kind of the same almost, right? Like in a way, they're very similar.
Well, a cult, it almost always ends up with one guy making so much money and then having sex with all the leaders and then convincing everyone to commit suicide. That's like the end game for a cult leader. With a gang, I feel like the end game is almost always jail or prison or jail or death.
Yeah.
But like, to me, that's better than some guy brainwashing you into like butt fucking you and then giving you Kool-Aid to kill yourself.
That's true.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just like both a cult and a gang serves the purpose of like these people kind of get like pressured or brainwashed to enter.
Yeah. I think we should just have an after school program where you get to choose as a kid before you graduate elementary school, like, would you rather join a gang or a cult? And then you get to join like clubs, like at the, remember like that school meeting where it's like you get to join photo club or drama club, like same thing, but it's like the
Choose
Latin
wisely.
Kings, the Crips, like Doomsday cults. You have there's so many cults out there. I can't even think of. There was like the Moonies cult, and it's
I
just
would
like
join a cult, I think.
and they're all lined up, and you get to get the pitch from the gang members and from the cult members, and like you get a pamphlet.
Yeah.
You get to watch the video, like all this information, and then you have to choose which one. Like it's your decision.
I think I'm choosing a cult.
Which cult would you choose?
Well, so I watched a show on Amazon Prime recently. Shout out. It's called Swarm. And it's based actually on Beyonce, which is I didn't even know until like 7 episodes.
She started her
in.
own cult. I joined that.
Well, it's like her fan base is kind of like a cult, the Beehive or whatever.
Okay.
But within that show, spoiler alert, there is Billie Eilish is in the show, which I also found interesting because it was our first it was like her debut to TV or whatever.
Okay.
So she's a cult leader.
It's a fictional show. It's not a documentary.
It's one of those shows that kind of really borders the line. Yes, it's a fictional show, but it is based off of a lot of real events that Beyonce and her fan base have gone through or headlines that have been made. I think the Billie Eilish and the cult thing, I also think that's kind of real. I don't think Billie Eilish is a cult leader. But I think there are a lot of celebrity cults that we don't like. The Hillsong Church. I swear to God, that's got to be a cult.
There's a lot. So I actually, on my other podcast, the AUXORO podcast, I had a conversation with a guy who deprograms people from cults.
Amazing.
And he was saying that there's a lot of crossover between cults and religion.
Yeah.
But he specializes in destructive cults. and it has to be like financially destructive, physically, sexually destructive. So a lot of religions will like suck you in and they'll brainwash you, but it doesn't end up in destruction. And he said like the difference with a lot of cults, and I hope I'm not fucking this up, but
No.
the guy's name is Rick Allen Ross, which is a sick name.
Yeah.
Rick Allen Ross.
He has to put Allen there because he doesn't want to get mistaken as Rick Ross.
There's three Rick. There's the Rick Ross, the rapper that stole the name from Freeway Rick Ross, who was the drug dealer, the crack dealer back in the 80s.
Yes.
And then there's Rick Allen Ross. And so, but yeah, it's just like this whole crossover between religions and cults. So I would choose, it's like, if I chose a cult, I probably wouldn't die because not a lot of like I feel like the ultimate goal of the cult leader is to get the mass suicide, but a lot of them get caught before that. But a gang, there's a much better chance I would die, but I feel like I'd have more autonomy in a gang. Yeah. So it's like a trade-off.
I think a cult, I would just be living my best life until I die. So there are a lot of modern cults where it's just like you just do ayahuasca and like eat and like throw away your phone. You're meditating. You're living a good, relaxing life.
But then all of a sudden, the leader's like, we should meditate and massage each other's genitals just to like, just to try it. He's like, I'm not saying we have to keep doing it, but like, just to try. And then all of a sudden, like, you've had 9 kids with the cult leader. I feel like it just slowly escalates to the point where it's just like you have to worship. Like there's some sort of worship aspect involved with the leader.
I'm only joining a cult that's run by a woman.
Okay.
So if Billie Eilish is
Martha Stewart.
Yes. I'm signing up for that. I am first on that list. Yeah. That's a good cult to be
Martha
in.
Stewart's like, look, you have to make love to me and have 9 kids. I'd be like, where's the downside?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm like, how are we having 9 kids?
Yeah.
Do we just pick them out from this guy's classroom or like what? Like
exactly.
What?
Yeah. You have
we get to pick 9 gang members, and then we merge. This is like
gangs, and you'll have the first gang cult.
We're healing America.
You'll have a Kang. You'll have it'll either be a Golt or a Kang. Gang and cult crossover.
Wow. God bless America.
Yeah.
We're healing.
Yes. You'll have people shoot each other up with drugs for mass suicide, but before that you get to shoot up people in drive-bys. And it's like the best of both worlds.
Yeah. I think I could live a good life in a cult.
I think I would too.
I think I could be a cult leader.
I think you could be too. I think this whole thing with, honestly, like when we first linked up with the podcast, in the back of my head, I was like, is she just building a cult audience? Because I get like cult leader vibes from Sam. And I think it's like an ingenious tactic. But I'm curious to see where it goes and how big you can grow your cult. So I'm gonna like just be fully for legal reasons, I'll say I'm being forced to do this.
Yes.
But off the record, I'm like 100% down for the followers to just grow. And there are minions. Or you're minions, but like you let me think I'm in on it too.
No, I think we're onto something because we are the Kang.
Yes.
Me and you.
Podcast Kang.
We are a clash of the titans here.
Pod Kang.
Yeah. I mean, I am coming with my little queer family cult. And who would have thought? Me and you.
100%.
We're clashing an audience base like this.
Yeah. I think, we get a lot of diversity. We get a lot of just like, I'll bring like the washed up white athletes, and like you bring the queer base, and then we'll like all get together, and the Chads will.
We're kumbaya.
Yeah, exactly.
Having the time of our lives.
Yeah. Kumbaya-ing at the end of the day.
Yes. If Martha's there, we're kumbaya-ing.
Kumbaya.
Yes.
So there's one last segment that I thought could be fun to get into, and this could just be like a quick one-off thing because we're at an hour 30 right now, but just so like listeners can get the vibe, we're working out segments because this is the start of a podcast. We want it to be entertaining for you guys. So the first segment that we're going to try is called Killing It, where we bring up a person in the news that has done something that we consider is killing it, doing a good job, doing something cool that maybe flew under the radar. and we're just gonna talk about that. And the segments might change, they might not, but we're gonna try to work in some sort of segment at the end. So
We're gonna
today,
pretend we have a structure, and
yes,
you're gonna follow along,
100%.
whether there is or isn't.
And that's how a cult works. Whatever
Yeah,
we say goes, and you
exactly.
guys just pretend that it's on track.
Yep, and you're gonna like it. No, I'm just kidding.
We're gonna brainwash you into engagement.
Yes.
So the segment called "Killing It." So there was a story about aliens landing in Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just give like a brief background. The title of the article is "Las Vegas Police Investigate Aliens in a Backyard Report After Officers Spot a Flying Object." It says a nearby resident called 911 to report something, quote unquote, 100% not human on their property. The station reported separate body camera footage of the glowing object in the sky, flying in the sky. About 40 minutes later, another man called 911 to report two unknown entities in his backyard after he and his family saw a similar object fall from the sky, according to 8 News Now. Quote, there's like an 8-foot person beside it, and another one is inside of us.
What?
And it has big eyes, and it's looking like it's still there. I didn't misread that. It's not inside. It's inside of us. The
alien?
Yes.
Inside of somebody.
Inside us.
Oh my God, I'm scared.
The man said, according to police dispatch audio posted by the TV channel, quote, in my backyard, I swear to God, this is not a joke. This is actually ... We're terrified. And my rationale is that the aliens are killing it because out of all of the places that they chose to land, they landed in Las Vegas. They could have landed in Cairo. They could have landed in Jerusalem. They could have landed in Tokyo. But they chose Las Vegas, Nevada, home of the degeneracy gambling state. And
great tourist destination.
I think that if anything,
for aliens,
100% for any species of humans, extraterrestrial life, I think they are killing it because this is not an invasion. They are on an intergalactic mission. They were flying over Las Vegas, and this is how powerful gambling and degeneracy is that they were drawn to Las Vegas, and they were like, let's blow 100,000 space dollars at the Mirage. Let's do some coke. Let's get some strippers.
Go on a bender.
Let's go on a space bender on Earth as their tourist destination. And that proves to us that like they are going to get along with humans should there be an altercation. So they're killing it because like they're having a good time. Humans are deep down just degenerate, disgusting pieces of shit, myself included. We have these base primal instincts that have been injected into us by evolution over the past 2.5 million years. These aliens are like, look, us too. Let's stay up until 6 a.m., wake up in a ditch, go to a Tiesto concert, come close to overdosing on Molly, have some chamomile tea.
Have you done this before?
No,
this
I'm
itinerary seems really planned out.
No, not at all. Come close to overdosing on Molly. Have some chamomile tea at 5 a.m., trying to salvage 2 hours of sleep before you have to leave for the airport at 7 a.m. Not go to sleep, realizing you're not going to sleep. Keep drinking more in the hotel minibar. Get charged $47 because you killed 6 airplane bottles. Get in the Uber. Continue drinking screwdrivers at the airport. Get on United. Think about asking for a screwdriver on the plane for a 7 a.m. flight, and then you get shy about it, but then you're like, okay, fuck it. I'm still coming down off Molly. I still have the drunk confidence. I'm going to ask the stewardess for a bottle of an airplane bottle of Tito's and an orange juice, and I'm going to kill 3 of those on the flight. And then I'm back in New York, and I'm having the worst panic attack come down I've ever had in my life.
I've never done that before either.
Me neither.
So strange.
Yeah, that just came to my head.
So weird.
That's not a personal experience at all. This is just what I believe the aliens were doing. And so to me, that's why they're killing it. They're just degenerates like the rest of us. No matter what species you are, your DNA, your home planet, everyone loves to get fucked up. They love to do degenerate shit like gamble, strip clubs.
That's what I was saying. They are killing it because it's almost like touching down in America is the equivalent of like let's go to a strip club.
Yeah.
Because you usually don't plan to go to a strip club.
Yeah.
At least I haven't. The times I've been to a strip club, I ended up at a strip club. So it's
same.
Yeah,
No.
you really go?
Yeah,
I would plan to go to one.
Sidetrack. There was a strip club in Richmond where I went to college called Club Rouge, and it was right next to the bars we go downtown. So if I wasn't going to get laid that night, the bars were closing at 2 a.m. Club Rouge was open till 4 a.m. So naturally, I just go buy a pack of cigarettes at the 7-Eleven right across the street and then go straight to Club Rouge and then just sit there for a couple hours. And it wasn't even a sexual thing. It was more just like
entertainment,
to have a place post bar where there's just like a crowd of people. It's kind of overwhelming, social anxiety to like, I'm just going to sit back in a chair. I'm going to take out 20 singles as a broke college student. I'm going to stretch that as long as I can. And I'm just going to rip some cigs in Club Rouge.
I think that's great. I guess being from Baltimore, do we really, listen, Baltimore folk, don't be mad, but do we really want to go to those strip clubs? Not usually. You usually just end up there after a wild
Stumble
night.
in.
Yeah, I would love to plan to go to a nicer strip club. That could be an episode for us. Sam and Zach
that's true.
go to the strip club together.
Yeah, I don't think it counts as me stumbling into a strip club when it's in my most recent Google searches, but I can definitely quote unquote stumble us into flash dancers in New York City.
That would be so great. And I'm going to be on my best alien vibes.
Yes.
Because they are killing it. It's basically the equivalent of just like, let's just have a wild night.
Yeah. And we have your Uncle Willie on. We have a stripper on. We just like keep building our guest list for the comedy podcast.
That seems like a perfect episode.
Yeah.
Me, you, my ex-felon uncle, and a stripper.
Ex-felon that we know. He could be like, listen, I never fully got out. And, I
wish I could look him up.
Yeah.
And just do some research. He'll find us.
I have a feeling he'll hear this episode somehow. Someone will send this to Uncle Willie.
I will personally deliver this episode.
Someone knows a Willie that you just described, and they'll send it to him and be like, I just saw this reel about podcasts. Like, this sounds a lot like you.
Yeah, he definitely has another family somewhere.
Yeah. When's the last time you talked to him?
I actually talked to him maybe a few weeks ago. I saw him.
Someone will be like, this is a random question, but like, do you have a lesbian podcast host in your family? Because she's saying Willie, and this sounds a lot like you.
And there's only usually one lesbian podcast host in the family.
Yeah.
2, and it's a bit crowded in the family.
You have to go straight. You can't have 2 lesbian podcast hosts in the family.
No, quite honestly, my ego couldn't take that.
Yeah.
I need to be the only one.
Yeah. And I'm glad I'm glad, that Uncle Willie is in your life and he will find this clip, and I'm glad, lesbian or not, that we have this bond as podcast co-hosts.
Yes.
This is the type of thing that transcends sexuality, race. Like, I feel so woke right now. I'm feeling very woke now. Just like I feel so woke just freely talking. Like, I think the definition of wokeness is like talking to anyone, no matter what their background is, about an ex-con putting a gun in someone's mouth in front of children. And like the real wokeness is the vulnerability of accepting the person's conversation, who they are. And it's like, that is how I feel. I feel like this is a safe space. I've heard safe space in the past, and I'm like, look at these like pussy ass Gen Zs wanting their safe space. And I'm like, I found myself in one right now.
This is a safe space.
Yeah.
Zach.
And if you're listening to this, you have an extension of that.
Exactly. You're allowed to have a lesbian friend.
Yes.
You're allowed to have a lesbian podcast host. And that is cool.
Yes, exactly. And you're allowed to talk about just like how you'd leave your partner for Martha Stewart, myself
Exactly.
included. You know, your ex-con uncle. Hopefully I have one too in the family. Maybe someone will reach out to me in my family that's like, by the way, I spent 2 decades in prison. I'm like, Uncle Rob, like, how did I not
Maybe
know
that's
this?
your destiny.
Exactly.
Maybe you're the future
Yes.
of that.
Yeah. And look, I'm glad because like, as a straight white male, it's about time we've had a voice. And like, I am so glad there's another podcast that a straight white male can give his opinion out and talk about these things that need to be talked about, because like, it's not every day that I can open my mouth and not be persecuted for the opinions that I have. So I really appreciate you allowing me the space.
So glad to bring you that freedom,
Thank
Zach.
you. Thank you so much, Sam. This has been a blast.
And God bless America. Happy Father's Day to Robert and Al.
Happy all you fathers out there. Yes, no matter what age. We're not ageist either. See, this is I'm in just like a woke euphoria episode right now of like Robert De Niro in high school, just someone's shooting it up, trying to start a gang. Robert De Niro's banging a student. Just like Martha Stewart's just like in the corner, just like alluring the hot football guys, finger blasting herself, smoking. Like this is
alien's just about to be inside of me.
This, 100%. So thank you so much for this episode, and I hope you guys have enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, thanks guys.
See you next time.